What is up, boils and ghouls? Welcome to the Horror Feed. I'm Jeff. Joining me today is the newest sensation in the horror movie community, Miss Casey Hartnett. Thank you for agreeing to be on the Horror Feed.
Of course. Thanks for asking me.
Yes, ma'am. I greatly appreciate it. So, as like I was telling you, we ask a bunch of questions here. This is what we do. It gets kind of repetitive, but it's fun. I love it. This is my bread and butter. So I'm going to go ahead, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump right into some of the questions that I've been sent.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing, not Terrifier related, not even horror related. What got you into acting, doing this profession?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question. So for me, I started performing when I was 3. Well, technically when I was 3 because I was a dancer. My parents put me in ballet classes, and then I went into tap, jazz, lyrical, and contemporary and hip hop after that, and started competing. And then when I was 11, I had wanted to try theater. So I begged my parents to sign me up for theater classes. And yeah, it was the rest is history. I started doing plays. And there's something about it. I just loved it so much. And I was always writing as well. I would write scripts and have my friends perform them. They were nice enough to do that in like elementary and middle school. And I just, it was something I always loved to do. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what was like, how is it like doing some of your earlier films? Like, how was that experience for you and everything else?
Yeah, I think those were really fun. The first film I did, I mean, in college, I studied film. So I was doing like short films in college, directing, acting in those. And then I think my first feature film was a film called The Formula that I filmed in college when I was in college by some film students there that made a feature. And I had a scene with Brandon Baker, who played Johnny Tsunami on the Disney Channel. So I grew up with Disney. I watched Disney Channel. And I think that was my first time really on a legit like indie film set. And that was a lot of fun. And then from there, after college, I co-produced a film in Chicago called The Crash with a bunch of awesome people in it, like Minnie Driver.
About that too.
Oh, were you? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like you say, you're a writer. I know you also produce some stuff.
Yeah, that was my first producing job out of college. I ended up co-producing that with them, kind of assisting the producers, and then like co-producing with them. And yeah, so it was like Mary McCormick and Frank Grillo and Minnie Driver and John Leguizamo, who's amazing, and Diana Agron, Ed Westwick, like so many people in that movie. And so being on that set was really awesome to see how that was run and everything like that. And talking to Mary McCormick, she's the reason I ended up in New York, because she referred me to a couple acting schools out there. She was like, what do you want to do? What do you really want to do? I was like, well, I'm also an actor. And she's like, go to New York. So she was like, this is what, she like dropped everything. She's like, here's what you do. I was like, okay. So she was super nice about it. And I haven't really gotten a chance to thank her. So if she watches this, thank you, Mary. But
we'll get it around somehow. We'll get it around.
Yeah. But I went to New York, studied in New York, and then that led to other indie films, of course. And I just love the indie film community so much. It's really these passion projects. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone just loves being there. It's the one job that I realized that I don't mind waking up at 4 a.m. for.
That's amazing.
And it's that one thing that I was always like, I don't mind waking up at 4 a.m. for this. I've had other jobs where I'm like, waking up between 4 and 6, not so much, thank you. But for some reason, I'm always so excited to be working on these projects. So
that's amazing. I love that. Like that's great. And you've done a lot too. Like I was going over everything. Like you've done What We Found. That was one that I remember.
that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I got to ask about Terrifier 2. So, how did
Mhm.
you come about getting your role?
Yeah. So I mean, I submitted for the audition. I submitted for the role on the breakdown online. And I got the audition and I did a couple tapes before he brought me in to read with Lauren to do a chemistry read, to play best friends, of course. And then from there, he actually had me do one more scene where it was like a screaming scene where I'm in it, like running away from Art, essentially, about to be attacked. And so he had me do that just to see where I could go with that. And I had to do a self tape of that from my apartment. And my neighbor actually knocked on my door to check if I was okay, which I really appreciate. I
That's
really
great.
do appreciate my neighbor for doing that. But that was funny because my neighbor was like, because my partner at the time was helping me with that self tape. And my neighbor was like, just checking, because I just, if in case you were being murdered, I wasn't sure if you were being murdered or if you were having really weird sex or what was going on. And I was like, well, I mean, none of those, but thank you.
That's a great neighbor right there.
Yeah. So yeah. And then I did one take of that because I didn't want to alarm anyone else. So I just was like, here, Damien, I did one take. My neighbor came to check on me. Here you go. And I sent that to him. And that's kind of how that went. Yeah.
Speaking about your character, Allie, that chemistry between you and Sienna, between you and Lauren,
Hmm. Yeah.
honest to gods, that was perfect. Like I
Oh,
felt
thank you.
you guys were like best friends in that movie, you know.
Thank
Like
you.
I go back and I look at movies like Halloween and I see how, you know, like Laurie, Annie, and all them acted with each other because that was like the
Hmm.
big three females back in the day. And
Right.
then you come to Terrifier and it's the three of you, but just how your character and Sienna like meshed so well. Like that felt like best
Oh,
friends to me. So bravo
I'm
on
so
that. Like
glad.
that was
Yeah,
great.
I'm so glad that you felt that way. Thank you so much. I really, I mean, honestly, I'm just so proud of all the actors, well, of everyone who worked on this film, but of all the actors as well. And I am so glad that people are commenting on the acting because that doesn't happen in horror films a lot.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so I'm just so thank you for saying that. That means a lot, honestly.
Of course. Like it was
Yeah.
brilliant. Like that made me happy because I watch horror movies all the time and like I always try to find things and like
Mhm.
that felt like a legitimate friendship and I
Mhm.
really liked like even like when best friends when like legit best friends they'll call each other out on their shit and
Yeah.
that scene where you guys are in the grocery store and you're pretty
Yeah.
much calling out Sienna on her shit too and I was like see that's perfect that's how it is because that's how friends are and
Right.
but no you did brilliant on that and not just that either like your all of your roles like all
Hmm.
of your scenes let me or say that your roles too but all of your scenes in that movie were spot on like that scene
Thank
where
you.
you guys are in the costume shop and you first run into Art and you're just like oh
Yeah.
shit hey creepy clown and just how you do that because that's how anybody would react like what the fuck
Yeah.
and you did great with that and then the scene that kills me like absolutely kills me is when Art goes trick-or-treating and he winds up coming to your
Mhm.
character's house and
Yep.
like you
Yeah.
don't give him the candy and he's like all hurt about it and he's like what the fuck and you're just like here take the damn candy
Yep.
like that was great how was it working with not only like Damien but how was it working that close with like David and
Mhm.
Lauren.
It was great. It was so fun, and they're both such great actors to work off of as well. And David is so fun to work with, and just so obviously, the work he does with Art the Clown is just phenomenal and blows my mind because that's not easy to do silent performances like that. But he's so fun to work off of because he's just so responsive and he's in the moment responsive to you as well. So that really puts both of the performers, both of us in the moment while we're working in that way. And yeah, from day one, he was always very welcoming and very supportive on set, and it just made me really excited to work with him. So, he was great. Yeah, and Lauren was great too. I mean, everyone really got along really well, which was, I mean, I say that I'm like, oh, that's weird. No, it's not weird that everyone got along, but I just mean it was really pleasant and really nice, a really great experience. Like, yeah, no one we all just got along and had a fun time.
See, I love that, especially in the horror community, because the horror
Yeah.
community, either you love the horror community or you hate it. But then you hear things about this, like how it was on set and everything else. And David's a sweetheart. I've interviewed him as well,
Hmm.
and he's a
Yeah.
buddy. And like I actually, one of my friends compared him to like how Jim Carrey acts as far as like the way he moves and everything else. And I
Hmm.
was like, that's spot on. Like that's pretty
I
damn
can
accurate.
I can see that.
Um, so I wanted, like, this is a question that I've been having a lot of my friends, a lot of people that watch the channel have been asking me to ask you. So I figured I would go ahead and
Hmm.
do it.
Okay.
Um, can you give us the walkthrough of that scene? We all know the scene.
Oh.
We all know the scene, your big moment in that movie.
Hmm.
Because that was insane. Like I remember David
Yeah.
telling me that if I thought the Saw scene in the first one was good, just to wait for this one, and he was
Right.
hinting at what it was, but I never got to actually until I went into the theater and I watched it. I was like, oh my god! So can you give us the
Uh-huh.
walkthrough with all that? Because I'm sure that was an experience for you altogether.
It really was. Yeah, that was great. So we filmed um up until the kill scene before COVID, and we had filmed a day of the kill scene right before COVID. And then Damien, with the time that COVID gave us, the pandemic, so he kind of went back to the drawing board and was like, we're going to start from the beginning with the kill, like after he chases you into the room. So when we got there in December of 2020, so it took us 5 days to film that, and with all the effects and everything. And it was basically, we started with being pulled from Art pulling me from Allie from the window to the bed. So we of course started with that, and then and then we filmed that, and then Damien applied the eye slash and that effect. And so um, we filmed everything in order. So he applied the eye slash, we did the eye slash, and then um, we filmed me crawling to the desk where she has her makeup mirror there. And we choreographed all of it really in between each moment. So we were choreographing everything. And then I just remember kneeling in front of that mirror for like hours or what felt like hours, I don't know, as we were prepping the scalping part
Oh,
of it. Because it was not just that, but like, so I had this whole thing on my head, this whole prosthetic that was ripped in half essentially. So he had like a fake, uh, a little fake half of like a fake like wig almost like on
yeah.
top with that, so that he could just scalp it like in it. He just did it. And then I remember like blood was dripping all over me because he had that kind of triggered to bleed as well. And then I think that was like the first and second day. And then I mean, the days all ran together, so I can't quite remember the exact prosthetics that we did. But then of course it goes back to the bed, and he's slashing my back. And so that was a mix between me and a dummy on
Yeah.
the bed, because when he actually cuts it and that thing that's bleeding on screen, that's fake. But
Obviously, yeah.
but then of course I was there with the scratches, and then the hand thing, and oh my god, it was like and then I remember like he like had to flip me over, do the hand thing, and then I was like, and then I think it must have been like the third day where we did the arm prosthetic, um, and that was just a fake arm dangling off of my shoulder. And then I remember like having to crawl on the floor, and it was so cold also this whole time. It was freezing upstate. We didn't have heat where we were filming.
Oh wow.
So in between takes, I'd be like huddling in front of a heater, and then we had to turn it off for sound.
Yeah.
So so I just remember when I had to crawl with the arm, Damien demoed it for me, and he's like, just completely like, he's like, you're just completely like zombified, Al. You're just like on the floor. And I was like, can you just like do that one more time just for camera purposes? No, but so I remember I was like crawling on the floor. I remember getting stuck because of the blood. I got stuck on the floor, and then we did the whole bleach thing. It's just like it was like a whole process. And there was one moment, I think one of the funniest moments for me was when David came back, or Art comes back with the salt and the bleach. And when he pours the bleach, the first take, I think we only did like 2 or 3 takes of that, but maybe 1, maybe 2. But the first take that we did of that, I was screaming, and I was on the floor screaming, and I must have looked up at David as he was pouring the bleach, and it went directly in my mouth, and I just spit it was water, but it went directly in my mouth, and I just spit it out immediately. And it just like kept screaming. It was just like, I like probably looked like a seal, like a fountain,
one of those little
seal
fountains
or something. Like, I don't know. So that for me was one of the funnier moments, but I did get stuck to that carpet as well.
Oh wow.
And then on the last day, we filmed a bunch with the dummy, which is a replica of me, with this little puppet that Damien made of me. That was my first time meeting Damien, was when we did the mold, because he knew how long it would take. And he knew that scene would take a long time to prep. So we did that before I even started filming. And he made it look exactly like me, got it all messied up, put it on the bed so it's sitting there when the mom comes in. And then Phil, our producer, and Damien and a few people were maneuvering the puppet to move, and like, when she wakes up, and then when she talks. And then we filmed like my eyeball, like a CGI of my eyeball. And I remember that was probably at like 4 or 5 a.m. and I was just so tired that I was like delirious anyway. So it just gave him a delirious eye. I don't know. Hopefully that was a lot of detail, but like it was a lot. It was a huge scene. It took us 5 days to film, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
that scene, in my opinion, like I have watched that movie so many times since it's come out and since I was able to purchase it, and that is easily my favorite scene of the whole movie. Like that entire thing, between the acting, the way, like, again, how you and David act together, the way you guys, like that chemistry, like that was perfect. And then even the aftermath of it, like when your character's mom comes in, and then how he's just sitting there laughing and everything else and pointing, and your mom's freaking out about it, and just that whole scene and how it continues. And then like after he does off with you and your mom, and the whole head candy scene and all that, smacking the little fat boy and no one telling him one, like all of that was just like, oh my god. Like so I'm assuming by now you've had a chance to watch the movie. And what's your personal favorite part in that movie? Or if you had like a top like 2, 3 scenes that you liked, and it can include you, what would you say it would be?
I do. Okay, so a lot of people say this. I do like the laundromat scene. I do really love that scene a lot. And when the little pal girl is introduced. I also really liked the scene where Sienna sees a vision of her mom, or sees her mom near the end. And that moment for me, because throughout the film, the Sarah Voight's character Barb is going through all this grief and just angry and dealing with that, and dealing with a lot with her kids and with her grief and everything like that. And so seeing that moment between Sienna and her mom, I really loved that, even though it was fake, but like but I really loved that moment.
It was it's a very artistic movie. Like it doesn't get enough credit for that, but it is a very artistic movie. The way it's shot, scenes like that one, it's incredible. And I was actually sad. Like, this is how you know you're a great actor. Okay, like I loved your character. Like I legitimately, like I said, I thought I thought you and Sienna were best friends, and I liked that, and I wanted to see you guys like ride or die all the way until the end.
Mm.
And I don't know. I know Damien's planning on more stuff, and hopefully there is a way to get you back in Terrifier 3, even if
We
it's
will
like a
see.
vision type deal or something.
Right.
Damien, if you watch this, hey man, come on. Like this could be a good idea. Bring her back. She was great. It could be like Sienna's vision of her best friend type deal, like helping her lead
Yeah,
the way or something like that. Like it would be
right.
awesome to see you back in that movie. Like you,
That
you
would. It
did a
would be
great
a
job.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that would be a lot of fun. And I also told Damien I was fully prepared to play a zombie if he needed that
That
as
would be great.
well. So
Yes, Damien, it has to happen, man. Has to happen. We have to have her back.
we'll
Okay.
see.
So I'm gonna ask you another question. I got a question over here that one of my subscribers sent me. Let me look at it real quick. I already asked that one. I already asked that one. Okay. Um, I mean, I guess I could ask that. So they want to know, one of my subscribers, what's the name? I lost it. I already closed it. So one of my subscribers was wanting to know that if you had your say, like if your character
Mm,
was to somehow come back, how would you want her
mm.
to be portrayed? Like what would you want to see of that character or another character? Like say if she had like a twin sister and it's obviously played by you, how would you want that character
Cool.
to be?
If she were to come back, how would I want her to be? I would honestly, I think that in that what after everything that has happened, I think that if Allie were back in the movie, I really think she would I this is we I really think she would sort of become in a way a mother figure to Sienna after all this trauma. I feel like she'd be the one who's like, okay, let's figure this out. Let's try to, after all, I mean, it's such a traumatic thing that just happened to her. And I feel like she needs someone. Someone
Exactly.
has to be there. And now I'm like, oh my God, who is that going to be? Like, does she have a grandmother? Like what's going to happen in this next movie? So I feel like that is sort of where Allie would come in again if she were to be fully present in the third movie. In that way, I feel like she would really, yeah, just sort of help her deal with all of that. Even though for her, it would also, she's young, it would be weird, it would be hard, but I feel like she would step in and be there to try to, I don't know, help her with all of that. If Sienna even talks about it, like that's
Right.
very traumatic, who knows? But I mean, she's going to find, yeah. So I don't know. I think
And
that's,
it would
yeah.
work too, because I mean, if you think about it, we already in this movie we found out that Sienna does have mental health
Hmm.
issues, and that's something on the channel itself we talk about. We talk about mental health awareness, and
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
knowing that Sienna has that in the movie, and that could all
Hmm.
play in, like that could be a bigger thing in the next one or ones.
Hmm.
It could always play a bigger thing. Like that's what it's like. She could be having those like hallucinates that it's like it's you, like she's seeing you, kind
Hmm.
of like how she saw her mother, even though it was just like a big
Right.
version of the pale girl messing with her and all that, like the demon.
Hmm.
But she
Yeah.
could be having like those visions of you, and that would be a great way to still bring your character in. She still has like her best friend there with her and all that, and you're there helping her, like guiding her, making her stronger, because that's what this movie was. And like that's what your character did for her in this movie too. Like while you were there, it's like you were grounding her out pretty much. Like you were there, you were almost like her rock.
Hmm.
And like that scene at the school where she has like the breakdown and you go and you run and check on her, like just from there on, like you could tell that's how you guys were, like that's how close those two people were with each other. So I think that'd be a great idea,
Right.
and I definitely want to see you
Yeah.
back in some capacity. Like I'm hoping it happens. I want to see
Thank
more
you.
of you. You did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Speaking
Yeah.
of wanting to see more of you, do you
Hmm.
have any projects in the works currently that you could talk about, even if it's just a little bit?
I do. I mean, I have some projects that are in script stages, and one that is in that we're working towards getting produced right now, as well. Um, I mean, I suppose I could hint at that a little bit. It's sort of like it's a, it's another slasher, but it's sort of a revenge thriller
Ooh,
slasher type
nice.
of a thing. So it's led by a group of women. So we'll see. That's all I'm gonna. I don't want to like say too much because I also, but that's something that's in the works right now that we're working on getting produced in the next
Okay,
year. So
awesome. So when
yeah.
that does happen, you got to let me know that I can promote it on the channel and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. So just a couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go because I know you're a busy woman. So a question that I ask everybody, and it's like it's a routine. I have to do this. Um, what would you like to say to all of your fans? Because now you have a whole new legion of fans. You have stepped into the dark side, lady. Okay, you got all the horror movie fans now. So what
Love
would you
it.
like
Love
to
it.
say to everybody who is going to watch this when it's uploaded, who's going to watch
Hmm.
it in the future? What would you like to say to the people? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I would say brace yourselves if you're going to watch this movie. I just prepare for gore and crazy, crazy stuff, painful stuff that happens to these characters. But also, I would say to enjoy the ride. It's a really fun group of characters in this movie. And I really think that in general, just the story of the film and the arc of the film is so fun. So enjoy it. Don't stop watching after the bedroom scene. Go back. It will be fine. You will be fine. That's the worst of it. You will be fine after that. So don't leave. Don't leave.
Don't
There's
leave.
so much more good stuff happening after that. So that's what I would say. And also just thank you for the support to everyone has been so welcoming and so warm and friendly and supportive. And that has been a gift. So thank you. It's helped my anxiety
Yeah.
as a human. So thank you for that. Yeah.
And I speak on behalf of all the horror movie fans, all of the Art the Clown and Terrifier lovers when I say thank you. Like
Mm.
you brought an amazing character to life. You did a great job with it. Bravo. Like I can't really try to do that, but no, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much. And then
Thank
the
you.
last question I'm going to ask you again, this is something that we ask everybody that has ever been on this channel, and you're one of the victims as well. You got to get it. What is I'm going to switch it up a little bit. What is your all-time favorite scary movie? Like if you had to choose one from back in the
Hmm.
day, like an older scary movie, and then like more modern scary movie. I'm gonna hit you for a 2 for 1.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Um, for the older ones, I mean, gosh, I feel like say like Psycho is just such a classic. But if I were gonna go like a little bit older, I loved The Others when I watched it
Nice.
years ago, and I love ghost stories. So I don't know, I really loved The Others, um, and The Ring and all of those. But anyway, but for the newer movies, um, the more recent ones, I mean, I there's something. I mean, I don't know, like the first that come to mind are Hereditary and Midsummer.
Yes.
Um, I mean, there's something about those that just, I mean, everything from the acting, the characters, the script, the story, the effects, everything. I don't know. There's something so fun about it and twisted.
I 100% agree with you. It's been nice because
Yeah,
over the past few years, horror started picking up again, not just the slashers,
yeah,
but just in general. Like it
right.
seems that horror has new life breathed, oh my God, into it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's been amazing. It has been amazing. So
yeah.
those are actually good picks.
Thank you. I'm so
Definitely.
glad. Yeah, no, those two stood, they just stand out. And I think, yeah, but there are so many good ones.
Right. Notice she didn't say Terrifier 2. She could have. She could have
Oh, I
said
could have.
Terrifier 2.
I should have.
And I've never had anybody say the others, so that was actually really cool.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
I always get like I'll get Psychos, I'll get Exorcist, like I get
Mhm.
a lot of those,
Oh,
but the
right.
others is awesome because like it's an underrated movie in my opinion. Like it's an awesome movie.
Thank you.
So I completely agree with that. Bravo on that pick.
Yeah, thank you.
You are very welcome. So I think that's it. I think I've asked you enough
Great.
questions. I don't want to keep you any longer. So again, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the Horror Fiend. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the people that watch.
Of
Um,
course.
I definitely want to get you back on. I want to try getting a whole cast thing going for Terrifier 2. I want to get Lauren back,
Yeah.
David back, you
Mhm.
back. I want to get Damien, Elliot, like as much of you as I could fit onto this screen and just have a
Yes,
big old hashing of it all. So hopefully I'll be
great.
able to do that soon. And I definitely want to get you back on.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love that. So thank you
Awesome.
so much. And thanks for this. This has been great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So there you go, boys and ghouls. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you guys have any other questions, please leave them in the comments and all that. I will make sure that she gets them and we will set up more fun stuff. And thank you all for watching. I definitely appreciate it. And later.